Hello, and thank you for joining us on episode 24 of You're Welcome, the podcast where two dudes who don't know squat become experts, I guess, on everything. I am Zach.
And I'm Drew.
And welcome to the show.
I think you're just going to keep on adding more and more. You're going to have a new interpretation of everything ? Each time.
Exactly. That is my...
It's going to be a book at one point.
Yeah, that's my bit now. Is screaming whenever it's your time and putting a spin on the intro every time when I'm hosting.
keeping us on our feet.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
All right.
Well, speaking of keeping you on your feet, this week we'll be teaching you about
upcycling,
which is not bicycling.
Bicycling. I'm gonna go for a bicycle.
And we're also going to teach you about urban exploration. Woo! Woo! But before we get into that, Drew, how was your week, man?
My week. Well, at work, we've been doing, those like little, like whenever you order a pizza,
yeah,
and like you can go on to like that chain's like app and you can like track the delivery driver, like where he's at.
Yeah.
We've been installing that equipment into Domino's restaurants this week.
Oh, there you go.
No big deal. It's whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man. That sounds like a good time. I mean, yeah, it seems pretty intuitive and easy to do. But what do I know? I'm not a Geek Squad.
But other than that, I have tomorrow off because of the hurricane.
Hey. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which will let people know roundabouts of when we're recording this, because this doesn't come out for like another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Week and a half, really. It's more like a week and a half.
It's not that far away, but we are pre-recording. That way we can make sure that we're all set and not have to stress about recording last minute like we've been doing. So
no, I mean, I think we've been doing pretty good.
So far, yeah.
Usually it's at least like 3 or 4 days ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when we started, it was kind of like last minute.
Oh yeah, definitely. But we're professionals now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a professional editor. So yeah, I was trying to think of the word. I was like, wait, no. Editor. Okay.
Great.
Good.
How was your week?
Well, aside from work being an absolute pain in the butt, it was actually pretty good. Pretty good. Let me think. I'm trying to think of something noteworthy. Well, I saw my parents this weekend. I got a haircut finally.
Oh yeah.
Most of you don't see me post anything on social media, regardless.
But he's completely bald now.
No, that's a lie. No.
Little baby butt head.
No, shut up.
Not really.
Yeah, no, not really. Anyway, you know what seems pretty cool, like in practice or in theory, but you never quite know how it's going to turn out.
Please enlighten me.
Yeah, taking old things and making them new things. I hear that's a pretty popular up and coming new DIY thing. I think you may know a little more about it. I forget what it's called though. I think it starts with a U.
Upcycling.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Good. We just talked about this. We're working on our short-term memory. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, once again, I failed to find any majorly weird words when it comes to the upcycling world, past the word upcycling itself, being that upcycling deals with common household items. So if you don't know what hot glue is, this is not the podcast for you. But I'll tell you what upcycling is in case you don't know.
Oh, great.
Upcycling is when you take an old product or belonging and repurpose it for an entirely different purpose instead of trashing it. So a lot of times you'll see, like if you're scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or whatever, you'll see like one of those videos where it's like life hacks and
Oh,
what
yeah.
they're doing in those videos is technically upcycling. But I found that most of those are impractical, or I don't know, like cringy, I want
They're
to
kind of
say.
stupid.
They're kind of dumb. I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting to watch. It gets your attention, which is the
Yeah.
purpose of that video. But most of the things that they make, I'll say, in those videos tend to just kind of be extraneous, I guess, not needed, just
Yeah.
stupid stuff. Like
Yeah.
I saw one where it was like turning a Gatorade bottle into a condiment dispenser, like a squeeze bottle. Yeah,
Why?
I don't know. Because apparently the squeeze bottle that the ranch already comes in is not good enough. You need to turn your Gatorade bottle into a squeeze bottle.
Hey, does it save on plastic?
Nope, it
No,
doesn't.
not at all.
So I've got some pros and some cons to upcycling. Because you generally, I'm gonna say, you probably have the roundabouts of a good idea of what upcycling is based off of just the fact that everyone has at least seen one of those videos. You know what upcycling is.
Yeah.
Now here are the pros and cons to upcycling. So first, the pros.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially save quite a bit of money depending on how much upcycling you partake in.
Mm-hmm.
Money-saving examples include not having to purchase new products that you have upcycled something into. There's also a lot of interesting upcycle ideas that I've seen that could save you money when it comes to preserving fruits and veggies. We'll get to that later. Another pro to upcycling is it's something fun and creative to do. I truly feel like it's like a fun little hobby that exercises like the arts and crafts portion of our brains, as well as like the inventive parts of our brains. Like, oh, what's that one really minor problem or annoyance that has been bothering you? Can it be resolved by repurposing something? So I'll go ahead and give you an example right now. What one problem that some people have is storage. There's not enough storage.
Of course not. I'm always running out of storage. Have you seen my closet?
Nope, I have not.
Good. You don't want to.
Well, you never seem to run out of anything faster than storage. And what's one thing that takes up a lot of it? Board games. Yes, I know that everyone is super addicted to board games. Not. But maybe you happen to be more of a card game person.
Yeah.
You do you.
Yeah.
But for all you diehard board game fans out there, here's a fun way to clear up some storage as well as showcase your board games. Instead of keeping them in the boxes that they come in, take a cardboard frame, like you know, like you can just like buy those like little picture frames, like at Walmart or whatever, and take the board of the game and frame it as if it were a poster, right?
Okay.
Then take the pieces of the game, store them in a plastic bag, and then Velcro the bag onto the back of the picture frame. So now you can just hang the frame on the wall instead of having the box take up way too much space in your coat closet. I particularly like this idea because your guests know exactly what you have to offer in the way of board games whenever they visit. And then whenever you're ready to play, you just lay the picture down, and there's your board. You just unvelcro the pieces on the back and play it.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I was, speaking of like upcycling, I was browsing Reddit the other day, believe it or not, and I saw that someone took an old bathtub and turned it into a couch. I mean, it's inventive, but it seems impractical and uncomfortable. Do you happen to have any examples of other practical upcycle ideas?
Yes. It's actually funny because whenever like Christmas comes around or something, or like my birthday, it's like Diamond wants to buy me like fun things, but like my brain is like super oriented around practical things. Like I just like getting out another 100-foot extension cord. Okay, sue me. I want another one. Here's my favorite that I came across, having that in mind. And it's my favorite because I love cerveza. and I also make a lot of homemade salsa.
Oh,
So, and this is has to do with the whole fruits and veggies preserving thing that I was talking about
okay.
earlier.
Okay, yeah.
So, a big problem when it comes to limes is you don't always need to use the full lime. I just
Mhm.
want a small slice with my cerveza, and if I just leave the rest of it in the fridge, then over time it'll end up drying out. So to help
Oh
keep
no.
so to help keep the inside of your half lime airtight, here's a fun idea. Take the lid from Pringles can and punch
Mhm.
holes through it at so say you're looking at the lid like straight on.
Okay.
Take a hole puncher and punch at the 12 o'clock and at the 6 o'clock positions, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So the top and bottom, so basically the top and bottom. Then slice the lip of the lid, so like the smaller outer rim.
Mhm.
Slice it at the 3 and the 9 o'clock portions, so that the lid can be bent in half and the holes meet.
Mm.
So
Okay.
now just slip the partially used lime under a rubber band that you loop around the holes, so that the rubber band presses down onto the lime, and then the lid should naturally hug the lime so that none of the inside is exposed.
Oh, okay. Okay. I kind of see what you're saying here. Okay.
That's kind of a
That
hard
is
one to describe with words. Like it's easier to look at, but hopefully you
Yeah.
get the good idea of what I'm talking about.
I can kind of see that. That's
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But hopefully that's practical enough for you.
Well, I think if I ever get into that kind of thing, preserving limes.
I'm better than you because I don't drink beer.
Yeah, I don't drink beers. I just drink craft sodas. I'm
Craft sodas.
God, I'm so white. Anyway, so you were telling me earlier, or telling us, about the cons of upcycling.
Yes.
How does that fit?
Yeah, so I found that there was one main con to upcycling.
Okay.
And that is most products that you develop will be made from essentially a repurposed piece of garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not super fond of the idea of decorating my home with literal trash. Now, there are plenty of people out there, I'm sure, who don't care. They
Mhm.
might be super introverted and never have guests over anyway. But what I would say is be careful with upcycling too many things, or your house might end up on that Hoarders TV show. But I do think that upcycling can be a good thing in moderation. Like I said, it could be a really fun and creative hobby, but I think you should be ready to just go ahead and trash your old DVD cases instead
Yeah.
of repurposing them into a flower pot or something. Okay.
How would you even do that?
I've seen it. That's why I mentioned
You
it.
have?
And I'm like,
What?
this is one of the dumb ones. You have a flower pot garden made of DVD cases, and you look like, I don't know, you just look like you're insane. Like
Yeah,
you've lost your brain.
that sounds
Go
bonkers.
buy a 20, like go buy a 50 or a dollar's worth of a flower pot,
Yeah,
cheap as hell.
or make your own out of clay. It's not that hard. I mean,
yeah, making things out of clay. I do it every day, baby.
almost every day, baby.
I got a furnace and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Next week we'll be teaching you how to mold things out of clay.
Yeah, with
really.
no visual aid.
No visual aid. So I have like just like a quick. I'm just gonna quickly shoot off a couple more ideas that I found online. That was like, oh, that looks like fun. Boo boo boo. And keep in mind, nothing that I've talked about have I like. I came up with none of this. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not this inventive. I like
He's
to think
not
I
that
have a
creative,
creative
folks.
brain, but not in this way.
he's just not that creative.
I'm just
that's
okay,
what it is.
Well, a water bottle as a travel container for toiletries. Whoa!
Whoa.
An old shampoo bottle as a sink caddy. A Pringles can as a cotton pad dispenser. Old K-cups as succulent pots.
that's
An
kinda
old
cute.
sweater into a beanie and mittens. That's
Okay.
all I got.
Okay, the last two actually sound pretty good.
And that
The mittens.
those were my picks out of like at least 50 that I saw.
Goodness.
Yeah, like the other 45 were some of the cringy ones. I was like, that is dumb. Don't do that.
Wow.
But hey, that's what I got. That's all you get from me this week.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Sort of.
Heck
You know,
yeah,
maybe-
it's a lot of fun. What are you talking about?
My bad. Maybe we'll convince some listeners to get into it. Wait, you know what I just realized?
What did you realize?
I have actually participated in upcycling without even realizing it. I took one of those craft sodas, right? The bottles, put it into a potted plant, and used it as a self-watering little thing, as opposed to just watering it every day.
So it's got like little holes in the side of the bottle or whatever?
Well, I poked holes in the top, in the lid. It was a resealable lid, so yeah. I took it out because it rusted.
Gotcha.
It didn't quite work.
Do you know where else you might happen to find rust?
I don't know. Where?
In an abandoned building.
Whoa!
There's rust all over the place.
Abandoned buildings. You know what that calls for? Some urban exploring.
Wow.
That was great. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that.
Go for it, man.
Good segue. Take nothing but pictures. Leave nothing but footprints. This is the motto of all true urban explorers.
Is that a real thing, or did you come up with that?
That is a real thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, is it like
isn't it?
Is like Assassin's Creed, but it's like Explorer's Creed?
Kind of, yeah. It's the unspoken rule of all true urban explorers, but it's spoken since it's on the internet now.
I like it.
Yeah. So, urban exploration, aka urban spelunking, is the exploration of man-made structures, usually abandoned ruins or hidden components of the man-made environment. Photography and historical interest and documentation are heavily featured in the hobby, and it sometimes involves trespassing onto private property. So, there are tons and tons of abandoned places that you can traverse, like abandoned amusement parks, old hospitals, asylums, old power plants, or fallout shelters. The possibilities are endless. If you can avoid the dangerous and/or illegal aspects of exploring these areas. So, typically, you'll want to research a location that is completely and totally abandoned to avoid those pesky trespassing laws.
Okay. So, we're talking about like abandoned places that, you know, where it's like illegal, right, to go there.
Yeah.
So here's a question.
Okay.
Are there any urban exploration like attractions or theme parks where it's like it's pre-planned that you're paying and you're, you know, like it's a ticket and you get to legally go and explore an abandoned location?
Well, technically no. But there are technically locations that are completely legal to explore. However, the activity's growing popularity has also resulted in increased attention, not just from other explorers, but also from vandals and law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So the illicit aspects of urban exploring, which may include trespassing, breaking and entering, have had critical attention in mainstream newspapers. For example, in Australia, lawyers for the Roads and Traffic Authority of New South Wales shut down the Sydney Cave Clan's website. It's a popular urban exploration enthusiast group. After that, they had raised concerns that the portal could risk human safety and threaten the security of its infrastructure. So, another website belonging to the Bangor Explorers Guild was also criticized by the Maine in the U.S. Maine State Police for encouraging behavior that could get someone hurt or killed. The Toronto Transit Commission has used the internet to track and crimp subway tunnel explorations, which are dangerous. More on that later. Going as far as to send investigators to various explorers' homes. So, you'll find that locations like active or in-use buildings and transit tunnels, i.e. railways or subways, are very discouraged from being explored due to many of them still being active. And in-use buildings are an obvious given. You can't really waltz into, say, like a Chase Bank and go and explore in the back rooms and expect them to be like, oh, okay, he's just urban exploring. No, don't do that. Now, most transit tunnels are illegal to explore, with one exception. That exception being the Rochester subway in Rochester, New York, as it is the only subway in America, I think so far that was abandoned after having been fully operational. So, to answer the question, there aren't any sanctioned exploration parks per se, but it is always best to research the building or area that you're trying to explore first so that you don't run into any legal issues. And of course, man made structures that are extremely old, like archaeological sites, you might want to get permission to get into, but they're a little more lenient as opposed to buildings you may find around your city or
Mhm.
what have you.
So talking about old buildings,
Yeah.
um, there was I had a previous job where I was working in I was working in this old movie theater is what it
Hmm.
was, but it
Okay.
was repurposed into a carpentry shop.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But there was like this back, like there was like this quarters, like I guess it was like whoever ran the movie theater back in the day
Hmm.
had like a little apartment in the back of the building, and
Hmm.
that never got, it never got used as a part of the repurposing process. So it just
Yeah.
stayed an apartment and they just ignored it. So
Oh,
like when
okay.
we were working in that shop, we were told like, hey, don't go back there. It's not been inspected for, safety code, blah blah. There could be asbestos, there could be XYZ. Just hey, don't go back there. Of course we did. It was a lot of fun. There was all sorts of things to look at. And uh so my question is, apart from like I guess the obvious like asbestos or falling through the ceiling or whatever,
Yeah.
um what like are there any other like major health issues, safety issues that are not quite as obvious as those, or
Yeah. So, it's as you say, it is worth pointing out the health hazards that can come with exploring abandoned areas. So, it's no secret that, of course, it comes with many inherent dangers. For example, a lot of people like to explore storm drains. They're not designed with human access as their primary use. They can be subject to flash flooding, bad air. There have been a number of deaths in stormwater drains, but these are usually during floods, and the victims are not normally urban explorers.
Hmm.
So that is a possibility. Um, Many other abandoned structures have hazards, such as obviously unstable structures, unsafe floors, broken glass, stray voltage, which is terrible. Um, Entrapment hazards, meaning you you try to climb up on this one little ledge here, it breaks, you fall down to a hole, and you get caught behind a bunch of other rubble. So that would be an entrapment hazard. Um, or unknown chemicals in the air or on the ground, and obviously other harmful substances, like you said, asbestos. Some other risks include freely roaming guard dogs and hostile squatters.
Hmm.
So people who are just homeless and trying to find a place to live,
right.
some shelter. Um, Also, some abandoned buildings may also have motion detectors and active security patrols for some reason or another. Maybe the government's trying to keep a secret alien down there. You don't know, man. um, while there are other places that are more easily accessible and carry less risk of discovery. Now, obviously, let's get this part out of the way. Asbestos is a long-term health risk for urban explorers, along with contaminants from dried bird feces, which, if you didn't know, can cause pigeon breeders' lung. Um, it is a form of hypersensitivity pneumonitis.
Hmm.
So it's like pneumonia kind of like that, I think. Um, Urban explorers may use dusk masks and respirators to mitigate this danger, and some sites occasionally used by abusers for recreation or waste disposal, which is another issue. You could find tons and tons and tons of infected syringes, especially near the outer skirts and maybe even deeper in. Typically, you'd find those with little traces of heroin in it, so kind of bad. Not to mention, universities and other large institutions, such as hospitals, often distribute hazardous superheated steam for heating and cooling the buildings from a central heating plant. These pipes are generally run through utility tunnels, which are often intended to be accessible solely for the purposes of maintenance. Nevertheless, many of these steam tunnels, especially those on college campuses, have a tradition of exploration by students. This practice was once called vatting at MIT, but students there now call it roof and tunnel hacking.
Great.
Isn't it great?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Little more on that. A little more on these steam tunnels. Some of them have dirt floors, poor lighting, and temperatures above 45 degrees Celsius, or for our American audience, 113 degrees Fahrenheit,
Woo.
which is pretty freaking hot.
It's like living in Arizona.
Exactly.
So it's a health risk to live in Arizona.
Yeah, don't live there.
Stay away from Arizona. Is a bad place.
Yeah, don't go there. Other steam tunnels might have concrete floors, bright light, and more moderate temperatures. But most steam tunnels have large intake fans to bring fresh air and push hot air out the back, and these may start without warning. So, most active steam tunnels also do not contain asbestos, but proper breathing protection may be required for other various respiratory hazards. Experienced explorers are very cautious inside active utility tunnels, since pipes can spew boiling hot water or steam from the leaky valves or pressure relief blow-offs. Often there are puddles of muddy water on the floor, making slips and falls a special concern near the hot pipes. Now, steam tunnels are generally more guarded in the recent years due to their frequent use for carrying communications network, backbone cables, increased safety and liability concerns, and perceived risk of use in terrorist activities. So that's those are the dangers that you might find exploring different areas.
So you were talking about like the motion detectors and stuff on abandoned buildings and like why?
Yeah.
Which reminded me of actually Diamond and I's honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Galveston.
Yeah.
And it was Diamond's idea, I swear, to go on a walking ghost tour. And
I remember this story.
One of the buildings that we were, because it's just like one of these things where we're following the sketchy dude who technically, and like he's getting paid, but I think he had like an official polo underneath this really sketchy looking like jacket or whatever. But because he was wearing a jacket, like at the beginning of the tour, we were like, "Are you the tour guide? Are we? Should we be following you?" But he was a really nice guy. He was super good at his job and he was super funny. But one of the buildings that we like were not technically, like we weren't touring any buildings. We were just walking outside of some.
Yeah.
One of them, was like infamous for like being possessed by some demon or something, like whatever.
Yeah.
So because of this, it like attracted people, like that specific building attracted people to Galveston to go into the building to like do like Satanist like rituals and stuff. So like they had to like start like putting motion sensors and stuff in there to alert the police so that you avoid, like spray painted pentagrams and carcasses of house cats and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe that's a part of it. You don't really want to clean up any animal bodies.
Yeah, because somebody may want to come and purchase that building later, right?
Doubt it.
Yeah, probably not. But you know what's crazy?
What?
There is a location that is about, say, 5 or 6 miles. Not even 5 miles from the house where I'm staying at right now. That is completely and totally abandoned. But it is near an airport, so you can't go there. There's cameras all along the outside of the building, and there are remains of what looked like a building and an underground entrance. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's like a Fallout kind of, or like it's going into like the cellar, or
that's a good question, because there's a sign outside like the gate down the road that leads you to that building, but nobody's ever there. Like it has a company name and a phone number you can call, and like of course that place's address, but there's nobody there. What is it there for? I want to know, and I want to go explore that
it's
area
a government
because
secret.
There's like, yeah. I mean, if I didn't want to get shot or arrested, I would totally go and explore that area. because that's also a possibility.
Yeah. So maybe we should just say, just we know we
Go
get
at
it.
your own risk.
We get it. We're gonna say, hey, don't do it. You know, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Bob's your uncle. Do what you got to do.
I mean, if you're gonna go, try to do your research. Make sure that see if other people have gone there and see what they know about that area.
And
right?
You just have to outrun one of your friends.
Exactly. Also, just take pictures. Don't take anything. Don't spray paint the area. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, that's about all I know.
Out of everything in the world, that's all you know?
Yeah, that's all I know.
I talk about nothing but urban exploration. That's all I know.
Absolutely. My job, urban exploration.
Great.
You're welcome for both of those different topics that we were given to tell you about this week.
So just say you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're good. There you go.
Okay. So you want to tell our beautiful listeners what we're going to talk about next week?
Yeah, we got some next show subjects.
Yeah, baby.
That's what we like to call them around here. The next show subjects. It's kind of a tongue twister, isn't it?
It's a bit of a mouthful. gotta figure something else out to.
No, I like it's good. It's staying. The next
You're the boss.
The next show subjects. The next show subjects.
Show subjects.
Next show. Next subjects. Time I'll be teaching about calcio storico, which is a sport based in Florence, Italy.
Oh. Yeah. Huh. I thought it was like I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought it was like an alcohol or something.
It is not.
Shows you what I know.
It is a sport.
That's like an ancient art of brewing alcohol. No, I guess not. Anyway, my next show subject, goodness, is Reiki,
which is,
I think that's how you pronounce that.
That is definitely a ancient form of brewing.
Absolutely not.
Oh.
It is a Japanese form of mystical healing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
More Japanese culture.
Can
never get enough.
Does that make me a weeb?
At least I was the one to cover tea. Kind of balance things out. Spread the Japanese culture teaching around so that it's not obvious that you're the more weeb one out of the two.
Yeah. So,
although I've been getting into some Naruto recently.
Oh,
it's hitting hard, man.
Oh, you like it?
It's the good stuff.
It wasn't my thing. I didn't like it as much.
You didn't get far enough.
I guess not. I don't want to get 100 episodes into it to like it.
There are like nearly 400. So
I know.
Great.
Anyway, so I want to give one last you're welcome. But first, Drew, would you mind telling our listeners how they can get in contact with us?
Absolutely. Zach 2.0.
You're welcome.
We got a Twitter account that you can tweet and at us or direct message us. That Twitter handle is at You're Welcome PO1. That's YOURE. You're Welcome PO1. We also have an email address where you can email us suggestions for topics that you would like us to teach. Or if you happen to have any questions specifically about Calcio Storico or Reiki, you can email those questions there. That email address is yourwelcomequestions@gmail.com. That's YOURE without an apostrophe. Yourwelcomequestions@gmail.com. And we also recently have established a Facebook group where you can go and chat about last week's episode, or you can say, hey, I'm interested in the next episode, and you'll get a notification whenever the next one pops up or whatever. So that's a fun little way to kind of give yourself a little reminder. We also give the same reminders on Twitter. So if Twitter is more your speed, you could just go and get the little notification check mark or bell or whatever so that you get a tweet whenever we say, hey, the episode's up. So there's all that good, fun loving social media stuff there for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on the topic of, I guess, inviting viewers to do stuff with us. Anyway, don't forget that you can still send in a 10 to 15 second original music clip if you are musically inclined. Please do. Please do. We like listening to music. I think Drew and I are like, we'll listen to songs and then say, hey, have you heard this? And he's like, yeah, that showed up on my Spotify recommends a week ago.
We tend to recommend songs to one another, and the others like, just discovered that before you said something.
Yeah. So like, we really like music. So if you have talent, this isn't America's Got Talent. You won't really get a whole lot of views or what have you.
It's not going to kickstart your career.
It's definitely not. But send us a little clip. We'll share it. We'll share your page or your SoundCloud, whatever that you want us to share. Just send it to us, and we'll put it at the beginning and the end of the podcast episode. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, please take some time to recommend it to one of your friends this week. It helps us grow. We don't have any marketing money, so I mean, I guess we could, but nobody would sponsor us. We don't have a whole lot of viewership, but you guys get us that viewership because you guys are our lifeblood. Literally. I feed off your every emotion.
You're pulsing through my veins.
I live vicariously through you. No.
As you listen to my show, because I'm really into myself.
Exactly. I'm very narcissistic.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it went. God. Anyway.
Don't edit that out, Sean. Leave the snort.
No, edit that out. Just do what you can to help us. We'd be extremely grateful. We appreciate it. So anyway, thank you for joining us. All you lip smacking, snorting, laughing people. No, not lip slap.
You're good. Keep going. Lip smacking people.
Lip smacking people. I'm Zach.
And I'm Drew.
And we'll see you next time on
You're welcome.
You're welcome.